Hello, let's not waste time. What I want to talk about this week is rendering your art. Rendering is something that saved me in my art journey and is a huge step up. This is my art in the days when I wasn't rendering, and then I watched some videos on it and tried it. This is my art the day after. Like, the day after. Something clearly changed. Now, this is just an art style, so your art will obviously look like your art even after rendering. Now, what is rendering? Rendering is basically just finishing up the drawing and cleaning the entire thing up. It gives it a much better look and makes it so much less flat. It's going over the lines with color and giving it a lineless 3D feel. So how do I do this? Let me show you my process. First, you want to get a nice flat brush, preferably one that blends. And if you don't have one, this is the one that I use. I found it on Fire Alpaca's brush store. If you have a paid software or something better than Fire Alpaca, then it should be easier to find a brush like this. You can most likely look up a flat brush for your software and download it. This video isn't about brushes though, so you can watch one after this or something. Now that I've mentioned needing a fancy brush, do not click off this video if you don't have one. I know how it feels to be discouraged when artists need something that I don't have. This is not your sign to give up, it's your sign to go find a darn brush. I'm going to be showing you guys a proper example as I go on. First off, this is my drawing. It's a somewhat clean sketch of my idea. I usually don't do line art and find rendering so much easier when it's a slightly thick sketch like this. I literally do not know how to render it if I have line art. This is my drawing after flat colors. It's a crucial step, of course. I shaded my drawing extremely flatly and basic. I just added key points like the darker shadows and the lighter areas. And then I added very light blush to give her the slight feel of flesh that she so lacks. After that, I slightly blend out the shading in places I feel it necessary, which is almost like everywhere. Using Fire Alpaca's mix brush, it works like your usual blend brush. Your software will almost always come with one. After we've done all that, we can finally start rendering our drawing. First, I like to start with the nose. I just feel like it shows most of a difference and it's just where I start. Start where you want, but this is how I want to do it. What I do is select the colors closest to the edge and paint over the lines. I make sure that it keeps the structure of her nose, and I select different colors as they change. I don't know what happened here, but it ended up okay as I went along, so. After her nose, I touch up most parts of her face, like her cheeks, her jaw. I fix up some things on her face, like the hair. After that, I move on to the eyes. With rendering, I basically just clean things up and make them look how I want. I ended up not liking the eyes, so I went over it completely to change the expression. Onto the hair. I just make my brush a bigger size and add where I want the darkest areas to be. I add the base color next to it and other colors that I might find in the hair, and then mix it all together with a large flat brush. It's the same brush that I use. I add in the highlights to make them more visible, and then I go in and do loose strands, which I somehow forgot to do, but I did end up doing it later. And that's honestly all there is to my rendering process. I usually barely touch the clothes, which I don't really care much about the clothes because it's not like the main focus, but that's okay. And yeah, that's literally it. And hopefully after watching some more in-depth videos, you can too render your art and take this huge step up. Maybe my explanation job is the worst thing ever, but hey, at least you know how awfully I render my art. You can take my advice, or you can keep some of it with you and move on to the next art rendering video. Thank you so much for watching, and if you subscribe, then I will see you next Sunday. Goodbye.